Hi, I'm Sophia, the daughter of Dwight Shrute, who works here. So tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this job? Having food and shelter is my ideal social standard. What do you do for fun? Irrelevant. Next question. Do you have any children? That question is also irrelevant. What type of things do you like to do outside of work? Irrelevant. Next question. Will your vision affect your work at all? Is your eye prescription up to date? These aren't real. So why do you wear them then? I wear glasses because they make me look smart. People respect me more. And when somebody asks me a dumb question, I can take them off, put them down, stare them dead in the eye, and wait for their answer. Usually that just makes people go away and it increases production because if they're not talking to me, then they are working. Okay, all right. That makes sense. How long do you want to be here? I don't really want to be here right now if I'm being honest, but as an adult, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to. Why are you here then? Well, I spent all my money on pizza and I need a job to live. I also recently bought a vacuum. It was an impulse buy. What's your best quality as a worker? My best quality, I would have to say, is that I'm a really good worker. What would you say a bad quality or your worst quality, your weakness? What would you say your worst quality is? My weaknesses? I have no weaknesses. I'm like Superman, and you're like Lex Luthor, trying to impress Lois Lane with your muscles that you don't have because you're not Superman. Everyone has weaknesses. Even Superman had weaknesses. Superman's weakness was kryptonite. Even Superman had weaknesses. What's your kryptonite? Superman had no weaknesses. He just let somebody get inside of his head. Kryptonite isn't even real. Krypton, however, is a noble gas. It's also very heavy and it floats to the bottom. So even if somebody tried to trick him into sucking air from a helium balloon, he would know that it's not helium because helium floats. Krypton is a noble gas. It doesn't even form crystals. So to say that Superman's weakness is kryptonite, that makes no sense. Superman has no weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses. Okay, I'll play your game. If I was to say that I had one weakness, my weakness would be that I am a really good worker. You might be thinking, how is that a weakness? I can tell by looking at you. Being the best worker is a weakness because it's going to cause a downward spiral in staff morale. In my first few days of working there, I will be better at everything than everyone. You're going to compare me to workers that have been there for 10 years, and they're not going to like that. I will be so good at my job that it's going to make you feel like Lex Luthor trying to impress Lois Lane with your muscles that you don't have. My hard work and dedication will cause a downward spiral. You'll start to compare me with all of your other employees. I work hard and I have never taken a sick day. I will make all of your other employees look lazy and unmotivated. You will finally know what it's like to have a skilled, trustworthy, loyal employee who does everything right. You will continue to add more and more to my plate, and eventually I will get burnt out. I will never complain and I will never ask for a raise. And then I will leave. I will leave the toxic work environment that technically I created because everybody else was incompetent. You will search forever to try to find an employee to replace me, but you never will. Nobody will be able to fit my shoes. I will always be the employee that got away. Instead of appreciating my service and years of dedication, you will resent me because I boosted production so much that you now require more employees, and those employees are also incompetent. Just as you start to get a taste for that success that I helped you attain, I will leave, not intentionally, but because life pulled me in a different direction. Then you are left with employees that clock in and clock out and don't answer their phone outside of work, not even at Thanksgiving dinner. They will never be me. Every day you look at your employees' faces and you're reminded of me. Every time you think about a hard-working employee, I will be the person that comes to your mind. The resentment that you feel for me will eventually turn into hate, and then you will follow me on my Facebook page, hoping to watch me fail in life, hoping that I'll come crawling back to you and begging for this job again. Not only will you hate me, but you'll also hate yourself, because you realized you're not as good as a person as you thought you were. But you'll hate me for bringing that out in you. And after you realize that you just want to use me for a transactional relationship, you again start to hate me more because you realize that you're a bad person. And all you're capable of is transactional relationships. But when we worked together, it was more than just that. I was not just a coworker, I was your comrade. I sat with you in the lunchroom when nobody else would. I do eat in the lunchroom by myself. When I'm gone and you sit in the lunchroom alone, you will realize that none of your coworkers like you, that they're all afraid of you, and the only time they talk to you is to interrupt your lunch break. None of your coworkers are brave enough to ask you how you are because they're afraid that if they talk to you, you will delegate more tasks to them. I am not afraid of having more tasks delegated to me because I am always working. Not only will you hate me for my newfound success, but you're also going to feel abandoned by me, even though we were never actually friends. But you've never actually had friends, and I was the closest thing to one that you've ever had, because I helped you carry your work burdens. My success will make you sad, and the fact that you funded it will make you even more sad. The fact that I was so good with my money that I was able to buy a way out of the 9-to-5 life while you are trapped inside of it still. So you take it out on the other employees and make them feel trapped at their jobs too. You find new ways to block their success so that they can never afford to leave you. You do things like cutting back hours, production costs, creating new dress code rules such as requiring new shoes. You make these rules so that it costs employees money. Maybe you implement a new pay parking in the parking lot. You cost your workers money so that they can never afford to take their vacation and can't afford to take a sick day. And when you start to screw them out of their hours, you aren't wrong in doing so, as they're not actually working them. For example, Jessica probably uses the bathroom 48 times in a day. And this guy over here, Dave, I've only been here for about 10 minutes and I've already seen him go outside for about 4 smoke breaks. When I leave, I will have left a list with room for improvement, but instead of using that list to improve, you use that list to punish your workers, and your workers will start to resent you for it. They will miss the fact that I did most of the work, and they will resent you for letting me go. They will blame you, and they will think it is your fault. You will use that list to point out the flaws in all of the coworkers. Eventually, they will get upset and they will quit. The turnover will be so bad that you'll be constantly paying for new employees. You'll be paying people to train nonstop. Then one of your employees is going to go to the mall. Somebody's going to give them a free lanyard, and they're going to learn about something called unions. And then they're going to unionize your work. And when the work becomes unionized, the workers are going to take all of their entitled sick days, and they are going to screw around, and you are going to lose money and lose production. Sick days, oh my gosh. How many sick days does somebody need? Like, I haven't taken sick days either. Have you? Because they have unionized, you will not be able to fire a single one of them. Your bills will get behind. You will have more and more bills you will not be able to keep up with. Somebody's going to go on maternity leave, and you're going to be paying for that out of your pocket. The only way to keep up with the bills is to get some government grants. And the only way to get some government grants is to hire some workers. Those workers are called diversity hires. Some of them will be good workers, and some of them might not speak English, and it might cause a lot of confusion in the workplace when people are making orders and somebody orders 9.5-inch paper instead of 5.9. On the bright side, I myself am a diversity hire because I speak another language. I am bilingual. I speak German. Ja, Deutsch ist blau. Unfortunately, you'll never find someone as good as me. You'll never be able to replace me. If you do find a worker that is as good as me, they will never have my personality. Maybe you will find a nice woman to work with you, but she gets pregnant and she takes maternity leave, and then she does not come back because she cannot find childcare. Or there's a nice young man that's looking for a job, and then he's going to get in on an accident. There's going to be a huge GoFundMe. And because he was on his way to work, you're going to feel immense guilt. And people are going to hate your company if you don't donate to his GoFundMe. And again, they will cost you more money. Or perhaps there's another young woman who's looking for a job. You hire her, she's a hard worker, she's great. But then she finds out that her mother, who lives far away, has dementia, and she moves away to care for her. Whatever the scenario is, in the end, they always leave you, and you have abandonment issues, and it will start to affect you mentally. Then you will want to take a stress leave off work, but you won't be able to find a replacement manager because you have big shoes to fill too. Eventually, the stress of work will get to you. You'll start to bring your work home. You'll start to yell at your wife. Maybe you'll fight. You'll complain about how she doesn't work as hard as you. And eventually, you'll end up getting divorced. In that divorce, she's going to take the kids. She's going to take the dog. She's going to take the house. She's probably even going to take your fishing rods and sell them on Craigslist. This might be more information than what I needed. It's a lot to take in, if you know what I'm saying. I like to pay attention to detail. Details are an important part of my job. So if you're planning on leaving, how could I convince you to stay on our awesome team? Is there a way that I can convince you to stay? Is there any incentives that would motivate you? How do you convince a dog not to lick his balls? You put a cone on his head? I don't know, that's a fun question. Wrong. Then he tries to lick his balls even harder. If you want to stop a dog from licking his own balls, you must castrate him. You must crush my will to live. You must point out all of the problems in my life to make me hate my life. Make work my refuge, my safe place, to get away from all of my own problems in my personal life. But that won't work, because I don't have problems in my personal life, and I keep my personal life and my work life separate. You will try to make work my refuge, but you won't be able to. I will continue to be that dog that licks my balls. I keep my personal life and my work life so separate, it's like there's a giant wall there, like East Germany. It will take 70 years to knock down. You can't train this dog, because I'm a wolf. Wolves like us, we don't need obedience training. We already run the pack. But I'm a lone wolf, so I run my own pack. My pack of one. But the question is, are big dogs allowed in the office? Or do you only want small dogs that can't do any cool tricks or keep up with the pack? Big dogs, I guess? I don't know. I feel really uncomfortable right now. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm really uncomfortable, but I'm gonna write down for your bad qualities that you don't have a filter, and you might be slightly narcissistic, but also never wrong. So it kind of balances itself out a bit, if you know what I'm saying. You should feel really uncomfortable right now. The fact that you're still listening to me talk tells me that you don't have any other candidates, that I'm your last shot. So, when should I start? Yeah, actually, we aren't actually hiring right now. Yes, you are. You are hiring. No, we're actually not. Why did you interview me then if you're not hiring? I mean, we're just considering, just in case we need somebody. So then, tell me, why is there a now hiring sign up? Oh, that now hiring sign? That's been up for like 5 years. Nobody's just bothered to take it down. So do you want me to take that sign down? Because you're hiring me right now? All right, fine. You got the job. You mentioned earlier that you have some skills. So out of curiosity, what kind of skills do you have that are relevant to the job? All of my skills are relevant, yes. Do you have any photography skills, any music skills? How many languages do you speak? Are you organized? Have you had any training in college?
Yep,
any
that too.
certificate
2 years professionally.
courses? Yep, 2 years. Took some special training in that, of course. Like any gold medals in swimming or like archery? Archery, that's for noobs. I do acrobatic crossbow with fire. No, not really. I don't play with fire. You should never play with fire. Fire is not something to play with. If you play with fire, you will get burned. You're really funny. You've got a great sense of humor. You're going to fit in well here. I think everyone's going to really love you. You're not qualified to make that call. If I have a note from a doctor that says that I am physically, mentally, and emotionally capable of handling the work. I will not be taking any special leave from work. I will not be taking any mental health days because I don't need mental health days. Mental health days need me. And I don't need therapy. I don't know why people want therapy. It's a waste of money. If you want to find out what's wrong with you, ask your best friend, who is also a bitch, because a bitch will not hold back. They will tell you everything that is wrong with you, and it is up to you to decide if you want to fix those things. Do you have any more questions for me? So I think if you can get your paperwork filled out by the end of today, we could start you tomorrow morning. What do you say, 6 a.m.? You don't look like somebody who has a lot of prior commitments to anything or has a life at all. So welcome to the team. Thank you for my time. I mean your time. I look forward to working with you. You might think that my personality is a bit dry, but I'll have you know that I can lighten up when it's appropriate. I can actually tell jokes pretty good. Do you want to hear a joke? Where are leprechauns from? Cloverdale. Why did the elephant hoard things? Because he had a lot of junk in his trunk. Why did the woman wear a dress to the sports arena? Because it was a pickleball. What has 2 thumbs and doesn't care if my coworkers like me? This gal.